Hi there, welcome back to my channel. This is Reflections by Jane. I've got a card making video for you using Spring Wishes from Love from Lizzie. This is 10 cards, 1 kit, and the card number 1 consists of one of the 5x7 cards that comes in the kit. I've also added a A6 card as well, and I'm just going to slot them together. Really easy to do. I've just matted and layered some of the beautiful papers that come in the kit, as if I was making 2 individual cards, but then I'm just going to stick the 2 cards together. I'm just going to make sure that the inside is covered with some lilac coloured cardstock and white, just to make sure there's somewhere to write a message. I marked on the card where I could add some ribbon, and this was just so when I was sort of putting the card together, before I was actually adhering everything together on screen, I just knew where I was going to put the ribbon, because I just didn't want to sort of waste any time. So I was just marking in pencil where I'm going to put the ribbons. Yeah, just matting and layering these gorgeous pastel coloured papers. I just think they look really lovely, especially for this time of year. Easter has just been and gone, but obviously you can still keep these for next year. You can donate them if you wanted to, and you can, obviously it's still springtime, you could still send spring cards to your loved ones. So I used the die that comes in the kit, and I cut it out using some of the gold mirror cardstock that I've got in my stash, and then I'm going to use some of the smaller dies that come in the kit, just to add some sort of decoupaged elements to the topper. I used an oval, a stitched oval from Love from Lizzie to adhere to the front of the card. Yeah, so I'm just going to cut out some of the smaller dies that come in the kit, and add them on. I'm using the sentiment, I think this one's Spring Wishes, and I'm going to use some of the Love from Lizzie embossing powder. This is the purple sparkly one, and it doesn't really show up on the white cardstock, but you can see it in real life. So on screen it's just a little bit pale, but you can see it sort of in real life. Yeah, so I'm just gonna ink, because I couldn't see that sentiment all that clearly. I thought if I added a little bit of ink blending it might bring out the embossing a little bit, and it did. Yeah, so just adhering that to some gold cardstock, matting on some of that, and then I'm going to mat it onto some of the lilac cardstock as well, just as a double mat, just to make that sentiment pop off the basket. Okay then, moving on to card number 2. I've got one of the 5 1/4 inch square cards that come in the kit, and I'm going to mat some of the this really lovely sort of bold patterned paper. Even though it's a bold print, the colours on it are really subtle. I don't know whether that makes sense, but yeah, it's really, really pretty. And then I'm just going to add a strip of scrap across the centre, add a couple of the pinstripe peel-offs that come in the kit, and these are those lovely sort of violet colour, or mauve. It's like a mauvey violet. It's really hard colour to describe, to be fair, but yeah, really, really pretty colour. Yeah, I'm just going to mat that onto my card base. I'm going to leave a slight slender border around the outside of the card. I'm also going to add a thin strip across the centre of the, the bottom of the inside of the card, and add another peel off too, just to add a little bit of separation and yeah, decoration. Just trim off the edges of those peel offs. So I've die cut one of the toppers that come in the kit, the paper kit, using a stitched circle, and I've just matted that onto the circle doily that comes in the kit as well, adding some foam dimension to that, and then I'll stick that on the centre of the card. Really pretty doily. You can get dies that cut out doilies, so if you wanted to make cards like this and you've got sort of doily dies in your collection, feel free to use them and recreate this card as well. If you don't have the if you've already, because you only get one doily in the kit, so if you've used up your one doily but you want to make more like this, then yeah, it's an idea for you. I've also added a strip of scrap across the envelope. So in the card kit there are 3 of these card bases and 3 matching envelopes, so yeah, you can do this with the envelopes as well if you want to. I'm stamping the sentiment, just stopping by to say hi, or hopping by to say hi, sorry. Of course that makes sense, considering there's a rabbit on the card. Just adding some foam dimension again to that, and a little bit of glue. I do add it a bit high on the card and then realise, oh no, I want it a bit lower. Yeah, quickly drop that down, but I can remove that adhesive with an adhesive eraser. I'm just going to pop a bunny's, it's a female bunny in my opinion, so I'm just going to pop a flower gem in her hair and add some glossy accents for the eyes just to make those pop. And then add some butterfly peel-offs in these the long strips. I forget what these ones are called, but the long strips of peel-offs, and you can get hearts, stars, butterflies. There are all kinds of different designs. Yeah, cute. Okay, now it's card number 3, really easy card, quick and easy. I've used a A2 card base, that's American standard size, for a note card, and I've just cut some of the yellow cardstock that comes in the kit and trimmed down some of the pattern papers. I've used the lacy trim peel off that comes in the kit as well, added that to the bottom of a rectangle. I'm going to add some patterned paper. And then just trim off a little bit of that. Sorry about the fuzzy screen, it does go fuzzy here a little bit, but it will clear in a moment. I think the software that I use to record gets interrupted by the internet, and it wasn't supposed to, so I think I've got the settings wrong. I need to check that out. Anyway, that's all technical, that's boring. I just need to trim down my card base a little bit here because I think my measurements were slightly out by a millimetre or so. I'm going to use some foam dimension, pop up this top that I've created using some pattern paper and then that lace peel off. And I've got one of the bunny cut parts. I'm going to mat that onto some more yellow cardstock, pop that up on foam as well. I was having a bit of bother with my ATG gun this time around. I don't know I think I might have a faulty roll of tape, but that's why I'm using one of the scrapbook.com tape runners. Yeah, and then I'm going to add a sentiment. Sorry, I think this one is Somebody Loves You. So it's a small little note card to send somebody a lovely Easter wish. I'm going to mat that onto some of the lilac cardstock that comes in the kit. Yeah, and I think a really quick and easy card. I'm going to embellish now with some of the gems that come in the kit, but I want to change the colour, so I'm using an alcohol marker to change the colour of those gems and add that onto my card. And then as an afterthought, I thought, oh no, peel off, add a peel off. Yeah, and I just separated the cardstock with that lace trim. Yeah, really easy, quick and easy card. Okay, so we're going to get a bit artsy now with card number 4. So I'm just ink blending. I think this is weathered wood ink distress oxide, and I'm using my ink blender blending brush, which is the blue one. So I think there was still a little bit of blue ink on that brush, even though I had cleaned it off. So there's a little bit of a touch of blue in that, but I didn't mind. So it's weathered wood. It looks a bit of a stormy scene, and I'm using 2 of the rabbits in the stamp set. One is right facing, one is left facing. I'm adding a sentiment as well at the same time, so hopping by to say hi. And yeah, and that's basically it. I'm just going to add some of my green alcohol marker to make it look like those rabbits are sitting on a hillside or a bank or in a meadow somewhere. So I'm just doing some basic ink blending using my alcohol markers. These are the Spectrum Noir Tri-Blends. And yeah, so yeah, get a little bit artsy with your stamps if you want to this spring. Mat that onto some of the blue cardstock that comes in the kit. I'm not sure if it's, I can't remember if it's blue or lilac, but I think this one's blue, like a light blue. So I've added a really slender border around that, leaving a little slender border of white cardstock card base behind as well. So I'm adding some glossy accents for the eyes. I'm going to add a little bit of shading with a grey alcohol marker as well. This is the brush Spectrum Noirs. So I've got both. I've got the Spectrum Noir Tri-Blends and the brush blends as well. So there's a little bit of shading of grey around the rabbits, and then just as a little bit of decoration, I'm adding some of the ribbon, which I've tied it into a bow. I'm just going to adhere that with a glue dot. And then I'd already die cut some of these, the flowers, the little flower dies that come in the kit, and I'd sat and die cut quite a few out of some of Right, sorry about that, there was a knock at the door. I had to go and sort that out. So yeah, I die cut some of the flowers out of some scrap pearlescent cardstock that I'd got out of Lizi's previous kits, and a lot of it is black pastel colours, and I thought this worked perfectly. So yeah, so I die cut quite a few of the little flowers using the dies that come in the kit, and I just thought, oh yeah, decorate them so that it looks like the bunnies are all sat in a meadow, and I thought this was really lovely, cute little card as well. Here we go with card number 5, and this is a 5x7 inch card, one of the card bases that comes in the kit, and I've cut out some squares using the pattern paper and some matting them on some solid coloured cardstock that comes in the kit as well. I had a few indecisions about this card. I didn't know whether I was going to use a stamp sentiment or the the envelopes that come in the kit, and so I was just playing around with it a little bit, and I had this image of what the card would look like in my head, but I wasn't quite sure which elements I was going to use. I don't know whether anybody else is indecisive when making cards. I am all the time. So I'm just making sure that these squares are as level as I can get them. I'm using a T-square ruler, and I'm just going to play around with the envelopes, and I used the heart die that came in one of Lizzie's previous kits, and it's got this sort of like frilly doily around the outside, and I think that looks really pretty. So I've used a thank you die as well, and I was a bit indecisive with that, so I moved it from the left to the right. The hearts won in the end, even though I was playing around with the envelopes. And yeah, I used the white glitter cardstock that comes in the kit, pop that up on some foam dimension. I've coloured the wooden elements, 2 birds and a butterfly, using a Posca white acrylic paint pen, and then I'm going to heat emboss those as well. So adding the acrylic white paint as a base really makes the embossing powder sort of pop rather than on the wood colour. So yeah, I'm using the Purple Sparkle embossing powder. As you know from my unboxing, I got quite a few embossing powders in the sale from Love from Lizi, and I'm just heat setting that embossing powder. I shouldn't be doing it over the top of my card, but hey, I am limited on space. My work area is very, very crowded. If you could see the chaos outside of the camera shot, you would be gobsmacked. Yeah, so I just adhered those down using some PVA glue. Normally you use matte medium, but I use PVA glue in this instance. And then I'm just thought it needed a little bit extra pizzazz, so I'm adding just a couple of the peel-offs to separate the top and the bottom of those squares. Cute! If you haven't done so already, please like this video, subscribe and share if you can. Thank you. Okay, so we're moving on to card number 6, and this card is an A2 size card, and I'm using some more of that pretty pattern paper that I've used on a previous card, and just matting that onto onto the card base. I've cut an oval die from Lizzie's Stitched Ovals, and I've also stamped and fussy cut some of the plant stamps that come in the stamp set, and I've used 2 inks to create sort of a look of lavender or heather, or you know, something like that. And then I'm stamping one of the bunnies in grey ink and Sentiment Spring Wishes, and I've cut a frame from the ovals as well. Yeah, so I'm just getting my placement right, putting the images in my MISTI, and then I'm just using the stamped and fussy cut elements as ephemera effectively, and sticking those onto the card, and then I'll trim off the overhang so it looks like there's a bunny hiding behind some flowers. Couldn't think of the word then, the simple word like flowers. Don't know where my mind went then for a minute. So I've just added some foam dimension to the frame and sticking that over the top just to hide the messy bits. And yeah, and then I'll add some peel-offs onto the centre of the card. So I'm just using 3 of the peel-offs that come from the kit across the centre, just add a little bit of shine and interest, and then I will stick my topper on the top. As a finishing touch, I'll just use some of the gems that come in the kit, so the flowers and the faceted gems as well. Yeah, that's it. Oh, I did add a little bit of a strip of pattern paper across the inside of the card as well. Okay, now we're moving on to card number 7. Wow, we're absolutely whizzing through them. So this is an A2 diorama card. I've used a stitched oval die from Lizi, and I've used 2 different sizes to create the frame, so the pattern paper and the white cardstock that you can see on the left there. And I'm using some green ink to ink blend on a A2 panel. This is just shy of A2. It's a bit narrower than the 4 1/4. I think I've taken about 1/8 of an inch off. And I'm going to use some stamps, the leaves that come in the stamp set. So there's 2 different styles of leaves in the stamp set, and I'm using 2 different colours of ink, and I'm using second generation stamping as well as first generation different shades. So I'm just creating sort of a leaves round the right hand side curve of that oval, and I've used some blue ink to create sort of a sky scene as well. So I'm using grey ink to stamp the flowers that come in the stamp set, because they will be in the background, and I've also stamped and fussy cut some of the elements from the stamps as well. So I've just frozen the screen there to show you the measurements of the diorama. So if you want to go back and pause that and get the measurements, then feel free to do so. So I'm just sticking the pattern paper on top of the white cardstock, and this has sort of created this sort of outward frame style. And I've cut 2 strips of green cardstock. These are just shy of the 4 1/4 as well, because I don't want them to bow when the card is lying flat. So I'm using my craft knife and some scissors just to create some sort of rough grass scene, and then I'll adhere that to the folds of the diorama. So the tallest green cardstock will go at the back there, sort of on the first mountain and valley fold, and then this narrower strip will go on the outer mountain and valley fold. And then I can lay over the top the frame, the oval frame, and I will add some more stamped and fussy cut elements to create the scene. I'm just using white glue to adhere that frame down. In a moment I do have to trim off some of the cardstock off the bottom as well, because for some reason it didn't quite stand up. I think once I'd got all the elements and added extra weight to the card, it didn't quite lie flat, so you will see me trim off some off the bottom. So make sure that the cardstock is flat across the bottom, otherwise it won't stand up. Yes, I'm just adding some elements that I've stamped and fussy cut, using the baby bunny on the outside, and then I'll add some more of the die cut flowers that I used in the previous card, using some scraps of pastel coloured pearlescent cardstock. So I'm just adding some leaves and flowers, and then I will double up some of the flowers to make them look a little bit more layered. And then the sentiment I use is hopping by to say hi. I think I use that sentiment. And then I can't figure out where to put it. Where do I want it across the bottom? But then I ended up putting it in the top left hand corner. Yeah, hopping by to say hi I use. So I just think that looks really cute. I'm going to add some peel off butterflies and some silver glitter circle peel offs as well, just to finish off the card. Really easy to do. So if you want to go back and have a look at those measurements and have a go at making this card, feel free to do so. Okay, now it's time for card number 8, and I'm using a tag, one of the largest tags from Lizi, and I'm going to do some heat embossing. So I'm going to use one of the bunnies and a sentiment, and I'll stamp them with Versamark and embossing powder. And I think I used the pink embossing powder on this one, the pink sparkly one. Really, really lovely embossing powders. I'm really, really pleased with them. And I've cut a 4x4 inch square of solid coloured cardstock, and the same again with some pattern paper, and I've cut both of those into triangles. And you could actually make 2 cards out of this, because obviously you cut 4 triangles. And I'm going to adhere the pockets down to the white card mat, but only gluing around the outside edges, and that will create your pocket. But I'm also separating one of the triangles with a peel off from the kit, and also the lace trim peel offs as well. So just to create a little bit of extra interest on the card. And yeah, so I'm just going to glue around the outside edges of the triangles, so you're creating a pocket. And then the tag will sort of slot inside that pocket, and then the recipient can perhaps keep the tag after the card's no longer in use, and perhaps use that bookmark as use that tag as a bookmark. That's an idea as a sort of a gift for somebody if they want to keep that as a little keepsake. As an extra little embellishment, I'll stamp one of the other bunnies in grey ink. Fussy cut that out and add that on the front of the card. I'm also going to adhere one of the little pom-pom bunny tails that come in the kit on there as well. I thank hubby for my cup of tea that he brings me as well. He knows I'm working hard to get these cards finished. So yeah, thank you hubby for my cup of tea, that's really kind of you. Right, then we're coming on to card number 9. This is an A2 card base. I've die cut 4 postage stamp die cuts from the die set that Lizi released last month, and I've also trimmed down 3 pieces of pattern paper to sort of adhere and mat against those postage die cuts. I've got the sentiment "Some Bunny Loves You", and I'm just masking off the areas that I want to stamp. So I've masked off some, and then stamp that down after removing the post-it tape. And then I'll do the same with Bunny, and then I'll do the same with Loves You. So "Some Bunny Loves You". So I've got this sentiment lying how I want it on one of those postage stamp die cuts. It's time to arrange those on some of the pink cardstock that came in the kit, and I'm just making sure they're evenly spaced over that pink cardstock. So I've got 2 of the pattern papers on the top, 1 on the bottom left, and then the sentiment on the bottom right. But you could have the orientation wherever you want them. I love this style of card. It's sort of looks like you've put a lot of work in, but not a huge amount, if that makes any sense. And then I've just matted that onto some sort of beige coloured cardstock from my stash. I just wanted a soft sort of keep the colours nice and soft. So I've taken 3 of the wooden embellishments here, and I've painted those using my white Posca pen. This is acrylic paint. And then I'm using a Versamark pen, and I'm just creating sort of polka dots on the bunny rabbits, and just heat embossing that first one with pink, and then I'll do the same with, I think it was lilac next, and then the peppermint colour embossing powder. So I've used 3 different coloured embossing powders, created sort of polka dots on them, and then heat emboss those. And then I'll have 2 of the bunnies on the top, so the pink one and the peppermint one are facing each other, and then the 3rd one on the bottom that's heat embossed with lilac polka dots is facing away on the bottom. Then I will adhere 3 of the I'm adhering them on with matte medium. This will make sure that they're really stuck down well. And then I will pop on some of the pom-poms, the pom-pom bunny tails that come in the kit. Just adds a really cute touch to the card, I think. So as far as I'm aware, the kit is still available. I'll drop the link to the kit in the description box below, but obviously there is a freeze on orders at the moment as Lizi is currently moving to Canada. I think everything should be up and running sometime in May, but if you're in the Facebook group, Lizi will keep you updated on the progress of the containers. So obviously moving house is very stressful, but imagine moving to another country, moving all your personal belongings and a business, a craft business, to another country. It must be hugely stressful. So yeah, if you're in the Facebook group, you'll be updated. Okay, so we're going to move on to the last card, and I'm using the I really make a cock up on this card. Sorry for the expression, but I make a huge cock up. So I'm using the 5x7 card that comes in the kit, and I'm using the heart doily that came in the kit, and I thought, right, I'm going to cut this in half, and I'm going to have half on the left hand side of the card, half on the right hand side of the card. So yeah, I thought, oh, this is going to look really, really pretty. So I use my tape, my dotty tape pen, and then I tear the doily, and I think, okay, I might be able to get away with it. So I think I haven't learned my lesson, and I tear it again. So I think, right, scrap that idea, and I end up throwing that doily away. And I'm really gutted about it, because I think this card would have looked really, really pretty with the doilies sort of half and half on either end of the card. So I've used the oval dies again, and I've cut a gold piece out of one of the larger size of dies, and then this is where I'm using the envelopes that come in the kit, and I'm using peel offs just to decorate the outer edge of those envelopes. I fussy cut a piece, one of the flowers from some of the pattern paper, and I'm just adhering the envelopes down with some tape and some foam dimension, and then I'm going to put some little notes inside them as well, little note cards inside the envelope, and I've decorated those using some of the pink glitter heart peel offs from Love from Lizi. So I'm just adding some peel offs as embellishment on the right side of the card as well, and I use 3 strips of the widest width, I think I use on that. So I'm gutted about that heart doily, because it did get wasted, but obviously if you wanted to recreate this card, feel free to do so using that heart. So yeah, I've just trimmed down some white cardstock, and I'm decorating the outside of the envelopes again using some of the moon dust circles in silver, and then I will, like I say, I will decorate the little notes that go inside the envelopes. I think the envelopes measure 1 inch by 2 inches, so you could just cut down 3 pieces of cardstock to fit inside those envelopes, and I'm just leaving mine sort of poking out, and then I'll add 3 more hearts on those peel offs in the top right hand corner, and I've added some pattern paper on the inside as well just to complete the decoration. Thank you so much for watching. Take care of each other and bye for now.